to all our folks out there. I know usually we do it on a Thursday, but you know, we have to come on a lovely Tuesday because it's about to go down. We had a lot of things happening in the space. Obviously, we got to talk about Powell Durrell. We also got to talk about the Rumble CEO. He just barely got out of Europe. That's interesting. And, the cryptocurrency market is, definitely been kind of shaking up a little bit. We did see some rise, and then suddenly with that news, it's kind of interesting how things kind of went down, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. And also just major news in the political realm. Tulsi Gabbard has joined the Justice League, according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yep.
So she is endorsing Trump. Interesting. So politics is definitely an interesting reality show, but nonetheless, definitely it is entertaining. But that being said, you know what, George? I know you got an amazing, no, I'm not going to say itinerary, but a list of things we got to talk about. So you know what? Let us begin. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, I thought, talking about the price increase since the last few days that we've been seeing, I thought we'll probably cover it in our Thursday's episode where we talk about, why the prices have actually bumped up. But I was thinking in today's episode we can focus on, let's say, privacy, self-sovereign identity, and politics, and what role does, crypto and blockchain play into this. So we'll go ahead and try to talk about, the biggest news that is going on right now. That is the arrest of Telegram's CEO, isn't it? Which is an unfortunate news. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the future of privacy is and what is the cost people are willing to go ahead and pay so far as, offering freedom of speech is concerned. And we'll also go ahead and talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who did actually endorse Trump. Now, we'll try to talk about it more from a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency point of view. Now, you mentioned about Tulsi Gabbard. That is also massive news, but she did actually change from being a Democrat to a Republican, and that was literally a year ago. So, her news, to be honest, is not that surprising, but we'll definitely go ahead and talk about what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said. And I'll say this time and over again, rather than listening to, other influencers talk about it, it would be great if everyone does actually go ahead and listen to what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has actually said. So that is where, you go ahead and touch base with information from the first source. So we'll talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. later on, which is the second part of today's episode. But let's talk about the Telegram CEO and his arrest in France. What did you make of it, Marcus, when you found out? Were you completely shocked, or were you kind of expecting this thing?
I guess, you know what? Okay, here's the thing. Okay, we all know that Paul Durrell was Russian, got out of Russia. He is a French and an Emirati citizen. So earlier the Russians have requested a meet, to get Paul Durrell out of whatever the jail or something like that, or detention, whatever the thing is. Now, just a couple of hours ago, the UAE is in talks, demanding his release or demanding to see him. So obviously because he is an Emirati citizen, so that's so in many ways, the UAE government is obligated, obviously, and of course, and it's not like not as an obligation. He has brought a lot of value to Dubai in the when he moved over here. So, and he is also an important key figure. So, especially any foreigner who gets a UAE citizenship, it has contributed incredible value to the United Arab Emirates. So, but I guess I wanted to kind of stress Powell's his situation, him being a French citizen. Because to me, I don't know, it is. I just find it awkward because, like, why? Because yes, okay, I guess you get the status and stuff, but I also felt like, this thing could have been sort of like planned a long time ago, in a sense, like, when he was leaving Russia, and also with this thing with the U.S. government too, like, that incident that happened in San Francisco, the French offering him the citizenship, especially when it comes to certain Western passports, it comes with major hurdles, comes with some, in a couple of chains. For example, if you're an American citizen, thing is that you are taxed by, your citizenship. Wherever you go, you're pretty much taxed. So you have to, I guess you have to report. I mean, obviously, you can there are legal ways to lower your tax liability, the tax rate to zero, which is obviously is possible. If you want to learn more about it, check out Andrew Henderson from the Nomad Capitalist. So he can explain that all in detail. So especially guys like Paul Durov could have gone to guys like Andrew Henderson. So when it comes to secondary citizenship for guys like who are in the crypto space, in the blockchain space, for example, Roger Ver, I'm pretty sure he has maybe about 4 citizenships, not only just the St. Kitts passport, he has other residencies as well. So which is strange because there are many, and it is also kind of, and it is, I don't know, it is kind of understood, especially in the residency space or the secondary citizenship space, especially over here in Dubai. I know most people are familiar with, getting a passport, getting residency in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, or try to go to the United States or whatever. But, there are other countries where if you're an entrepreneur or if you're especially in the crypto space, you want to go to places where you're treated best. So it is, I just find this extremely strange. He could have got other passports, other residences. And last, I'll finish off this, George, is just before arriving to France, he was in Azerbaijan. And it's also the same time President Putin was in Azerbaijan.
Interesting, isn't it?
Quite a coincidence.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, not sure. Again, I'm just saying that we're just speculating. All right. So, the news is still organic. I don't know whether it's organically growing or exponentially growing, but it is interesting to see that happen. And why go to France? And I'm assuming they would have some sort of a Interpol red notice already kind of deal. So, which is strange. But again, I guess the truth we'll find out maybe later on is going to be stranger than fiction. So that's the answer, the weirdness and the strangeness of the situation. I mean, to be honest, I cannot fathom how this is possible. So.
And unfortunately, because of that, it is associated with Ton blockchain as well, and the prices of Ton coin has gone down as well. Now, I wasn't aware that, he was being given the Emirati citizenship and French citizenship as well. I just know for a fact that, he did move to Italy when he was young. And I think what a listener should do is, he has a fantastic episode with Tucker Carlson where they talk everything about, what Telegram app is. So my big question is, when you talk about, let's say, cryptocurrency and blockchain, what is it that we can do or cannot do so far as privacy and freedom of speech is concerned? Because if I'm not mistaken, the warrant for this particular case in France clearly states that, it is because of lack of moderation. So it looks like the government authorities in France, they are actually arresting him because of that. And they have actually said it is because he has failed to take steps to curb criminal information, failure to cooperate with law enforcement over drug trafficking, child sex content, as well as fraud as well. So, whenever the government wants to go ahead and arrest someone, these are the classic cases where they go ahead and put you out for it, isn't it? I'm not sure if our listeners follow Russell Brand. His case was something similar as well. So, these are some of the tactics. Now, you can make an argument, which side of politics usually tend to do that. And I hate saying this, it is only one side of the politics who tend to do that. But our big question is, Marcus, what is it that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology can do? I think what Satoshi Nakamoto did was brilliant. Remained anonymous. And that's one of the reasons why, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and there's no way to go and catch Telegram as well. Now, regarding blockchain technology, the only thing I can say is that, the encryption that Telegram uses is something called as empty proto. And Vitalik Buterin, he was not a massive advocate of the encryption because he did say that there are some flaws
Many
in
people.
the encryption. Yeah. But
many of the OGs in the space too.
Yeah, that is something which was developed by his brother. I'm not sure if you know because I just listened to his episode with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. His brother is like a world-class mathematician. I think maybe one of the top. I think either in the top 3 or top 5. How do you say? I guess I can't remember the particular term, but in the world in terms of encryption and stuff. But I know. But I guess as a mathematician, he's one of the best in the world. So.
I mean, we use Telegram. I think the user experience is pretty smooth, isn't it? I've at least never faced any problems so far as using Telegram is concerned. There are bots, quite a lot of bots, but that is there in any social media platform, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I will say this because I'm quite involved, with a lot of the libertarians and in the privacy space too. So if you want to learn about, just to start off, when you mentioned about Vitalik, his views on privacy and Telegram, I would have agree with him. And Vitalik is not the only one. Many people in the Monero space too, even Zuko from Zcash. He has his strong views about Telegram, about the privacy, the encryption in it. I was also guys from Zano too. But if you want to look, just for our audience, there's this brilliant, amazing lady. Her name is Naomi Brockwell. She has her own YouTube channel called NBTV Media, and she is all about privacy. So she's just like a redhead, either like Australian chick or from New Zealand.
No, she's Australian.
Incredibly smart lady. Australian, yeah, okay. So Naomi Brockwell, I mean, she's one of the OGs, also another one of the major OGs in the Bitcoin space. So she has seniority, legacy, and super respected. So definitely want you guys to check because she covers everything from your own car listening to your invading in your privacy to cell phones and also messing app too. And what they all have in common in terms of Telegram is that yes, Telegram has privacy. All right. So think of this thing, think of this packet. It has the word privacy, but it is squishy. All right. So there are various definitions to it. And unfortunately, the encryption on Telegram is not open source. So there's no, so a lot of people on, how do you say, especially guys from the Monero, Vitalik, many of the guys in the space, they just do not, trust that. Even Edward Snowden too. So, again, he's also a tech expert too, right? So, so it is, so there are some, I guess, certain privacy concerns. Now, if you want to have the secret chat, that is possible, but then, not everyone do that. You cannot do it with a group chat. So, so again, in terms of the accusations from the French authorities is super strange. So
it is strange, but not surprising.
It falters.
Yeah, but not surprising at all considering, I do feel that they're trying to go woke as much as possible. I do feel, Marcus, that this is all connected, to politics. And I'm a massive fan of Tucker Carlson, and he actually said that, could it be possible that Joe Biden is involved in that? Definitely a possibility. I'd like to touch base on some of the things that, I did actually learn from the interview that he had with Tucker Carlson. This is information directly from first sources that, he actually said that when he actually launched Telegram, he did go to Germany, he did go to Europe, he also went to San Francisco, which I believe is a communist state now, but he faced a lot of problem to go and start the business there. And there were a lot of government intervention. And he specifically said that the FBI tried to actually hire his engineer as well.
Yeah, and behind his back, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole idea of doing that was so that the government, U.S. government, could get backdoor access to the user's information. Now, what I'd really recommend our listeners to do is, I think roughly around 2 months ago, Marcus, in our live session, we talked about how the former head of CFTC, He also talked about how Swift Messenger, the US government, did actually contact Swift Messenger and they got user specific details as well. So it could be possible that, the US government wants to go and do that. But anyways, what he actually said, that setting up business in UAE was absolutely fantastic. It was absolutely smooth. It was absolutely pure ease of doing business, which we can vouch for, because when you talk about cryptocurrency, we can see quite a lot of people moving to Dubai, especially in the Middle East, isn't it? It is tax efficient. We can proudly say that, Dubai and UAE, they definitely have the world's best infrastructure as well. What he said, something which I liked, and I was a bit shocked as well, is that Tucker Carlson did actually ask him, did he get any restrictions or questions by authorities from the UAE government? And he literally said zero. But when he went to Germany, the German government did actually ask for quite a lot of information. The same thing with Europe. I'm pretty much sure the same thing would have happened in UK as well. So when we talk about, let's say self-sovereign identity and a platform offering freedom of speech, it may sound easy, but there are a couple of challenges and you need to be bold enough to go ahead and still go ahead and do that. Powell is definitely one of them. Along with that, I can think of Elon Musk who wants to do that. I'm not sure, Marcus, if you've actually seen the Twitter earlier today by Elon Musk. He put out some really stark and really scary information regarding Mark Zuckerberg, where he actually agreed to, kind of colluding with the US government and stopping the whole Biden administration's sons, or Joe Biden's son, laptop. And that would have definitely impacted the voters. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the outcome to that is. And I think our listeners should definitely go and check out Elon Musk's tweet. He has put the actual letter, and I was thinking the letter is just a random letter, but the letter is actually by Meta, where the government was actually censoring speech. So anything regarding Joe Biden's son, the FBI rather, they asked Mark Zuckerberg to go and take it down, and he said that it looks like he has done a mistake in doing that. And along with that, even things like COVID-19, so on and so forth. So the question is, Marcus, when you talk about, let's say, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, what would happen, let's say, if our identity is known? There is a very high possibility that the FBI could knock on your door and say, hey, you know what? And this is something which did actually happen to Tornado Cash as well, isn't it? People knew who the developers were. At the end of the day, they are in prison right now. So the cost that you're willing to pay is absolutely scary, and it could be life-ending as well in certain cases. So I think, when you talk about freedom of speech, and especially in the social media space or in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, it's going to be really interesting to see what it is. Do we have a solution? I really am not sure. The classic example I can think of, and the best thing what Satoshi Nakamoto did was remain anonymous, let the growth be completely organic. Everyone was at least safe, from a founder's point of view. That is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Not sure. I guess in certain cases and for certain people, I think it's better to be better be anonymous. I remember that this an old interview with Roger Ver, but also I remember some of the guys from the Dollar Vigilante newsletter. Now they have the Crypto Vigilante, but especially Roger Ver. I recall him saying that it's tough being anonymous because when you have something such like at that time, Bitcoin was just an amazing technology. It's not just the tech, but just the ideal behind it, the vision. You can't help but share this message to the world, to spread economic and financial freedom to the world. And so that part, which I share that sentiment because in many cases I don't want to be that anonymous. I want to get people to know about it so that because I was hoping before the hash walls or so, I thought Bitcoin adoption would have been crazy. So many people would be using it. They have no choice, but the governments have no choice but to accept the new reality. So I think this is where I get pissed off with some of the BTC maximalists because we missed out on that opportunity. We missed out where regular Joes and Janes all around the world would have been using it, and that untouched human capital would have driven Bitcoin to new heights. Not in terms of like, numbers go up kind of deal, but like, in terms of economic development and stuff, I mean, it would have been amazing, so, so yeah, I know, I guess for certain people, obviously like Satoshi Nakamoto or Nicholas von Saberhagen, the guy who created, Monero and all, like, I get that part I would respect, keep it anonymous and stuff. But in terms of like, getting people to know about Bitcoin and stuff, like, you need evangelists, you need people, you need like businesses. And I know like there have been also cases by governments where they're preventing retail from, from merchants from accepting, crypto and stuff. But you cannot stop P2P, so, and I would say like, in due time, we're seeing like, things in the West where they're making just terrible decisions. Almost, it's similar to the history of the Weimar Republic in Germany, where like economically things are going to be so bad.
Yep.
Culturally things are going crazy. And, I think it'll push people to look at crypto in a different light because, all I can say is, okay, whenever the percentage of your money is like goes to rent, if it's about like 40% or 50%, usually it's an indicator of revolution or something in certain countries, so, and if you don't have enough money to, like eat or feed yourself, support your family, people have nothing to lose. I mean, they have nothing to lose, they lose this. And, I'm not saying like politicians and bureaucrats that they're doing stuff that's kind of pushing towards that. These guys are asking for trouble, so this is where like, crypto and blockchain could sort of like mitigate these risks, could create some sort of, this is my thesis in this. I know a lot of people will not buy into it. At this point, I don't freaking care. But because what I really care about, people like, to have the means to take care of themselves, feed themselves. They want peace. They don't want problems, but there's certain things like it cannot control. So, but, crypto is the last straw, and crypto is the exit for so many people. And I would also just to, pitch forward as well, crypto is going to be the currency for AI. So just saying. Anyway, back to you, sir.
I kind of agree and I kind of disagree to it as well because, look, there's been well over a decade and unfortunately we aren't seeing any platforms where, we can offer 100% pure privacy. Maybe there is something new coming up. Hopefully then we can talk about, let's say, cryptocurrency or blockchain, because one of the biggest use cases of cryptocurrency and blockchain is 100% openness, isn't it? So people can go out and verify everything that has been done. But what I wanted to talk about is, Marcus, let's say if the Sea of Telegram did actually offer backdoor access to the users, let's say in Germany or to the US government, and if that would have been the case, he would have not been in this position, isn't it? Then the government would not have gone after him. That's the decision he's willing to take, and I think that is a bold move.
Yeah, but then, we talk about apps, and, it raises the questions about, okay, because there are some apps out there like, for example, Signal, Session. Session, in terms of privacy, it is top notch, but in terms of user experience, it's not the greatest. So Telegram is sort of like the best medium in that case. But, like even Signal is not that bad too, because I know there are a lot of even crypto groups too who are on Signal too. So, even though I know like Signal was sort of a creation of the CIA and stuff, but, thing is that like, it's designed in such a way that like even the people working on it, they cannot access your data and stuff, so that's what kind of begs the question. And this is where also like, I kind of see where Edward Snowden, Vitalik Buterin, Naomi Brockwell, they make the case like, the privacy in Telegram is not really the greatest. Like it's, the encryption is sort of, questionable. So again, it's a weird it's a weird clusterfuck in some sense. I don't know.
And we have used key.io as well as for our video trial, isn't it? There's no option for recording. So listeners, if you're fans of Tether USDT or Tether or Bitfinex, you can check key.io, which is essentially a video chatting.
Oh, please spell that for our audience.
KEET.io. K for kite, E for elephant, and T for Trump 2024.io. So key.io.
All right, they can have it,
Yeah, regarding Trump, he also said that the US government did actually ask, the January 6th information via Telegram. They wanted specific users. What in the discussion they were also talking about, there are a couple of riots which are taking place in UK. Now, this is where mainstream media kicks in. Whenever it is the opposing political party, they say it is far right. But whenever it is the Democrats, they don't say it is extreme left wing. They just mention that, these are people who are upset with the freedom. So that's one of the reasons why I often say is, rather than listening to clips or mainstream media, it's great that we look at information from first source. And you'd be surprised 90% of the information that, we find out, even in the cryptocurrency world, is either fake news or misleading. Now, the only thing what I wanted to touch base regarding Powell's case is, and this is based off the interview with Tucker Carlson, the Democrats did actually ask him, I'm pretty much sure they sent him a subpoena or a letter, where they requested specific data regarding users for Trump supporters. But at the same time, he also received a subpoena from the Republicans stating that if he goes and gives the information, that is violating person's privacy. And I think, Marcus, we discussed this thing a few days ago as well, isn't it, offline? So what he decided to do was, he decided to remain silent, not just talk about it as well. Looks like that was a smart move. Could that be the reason why, the Biden administration is using another left-leaning political party, which is in France, to go after Powell? I definitely do think so. I definitely do think so. And social media is absolutely crazy in support for him. Edward Snowden did actually state that it was an assault on basic human rights of speech and association. Now, Tucker Carlson did actually state it was a Western country, a Biden administration ally, and enthusiastic NATO member that locked him away, which I 100% agree to. But
my apologies. I think we got some sort of delay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry. Because I think mine kind of shut down for a bit. I'm like, wait, what's up? Anyway, my apologies, guys. My apologies. All right. But okay, sorry, you were saying, just to go back, you were mentioning about the Republicans and Democrats, they all sent letters or whatever, or subpoena, to Pavel Durov, CEO of Telegram. So what did he do next? Was it
he just ignored it, which was probably the best thing to do. So the Democrat asked him for backdoor access for Trump supporters. According to them, they were chatting and discussing everything via Telegram. But at the same time, he received a subpoena from the Republicans who said that if you do that, you're breaking the privacy laws. Now I wanted to check, Marcus, and let me know if I'm right or wrong in this. In Telegram, we have to use a mobile number, isn't it? Or can you go and sign up without the mobile number? Because I was thinking maybe if, he can come up with an idea that you can, let's say, use an Ethereum address. So that'd be a good thing. Because look, if the government wants to find out who the mobile number belongs to, in UAE specifically, you can find out with the Emirates ID. I'm pretty much sure in UK you can get a SIM card without any identification. In India, I think you have to go and give your documentation. In US, you can get it without any identification, isn't it?
Yeah. I could be half wrong in this, but if you're using Telegram, yes, I think you may have to use your cell phone or something, or you keep it hidden also.
Yeah, you can keep it hidden.
But also, you can also, now with Tron, you could, get your own specific number or something, like an 888 something or whatever. So, I guess you can get it through a fragment or fragment.io or something like that. It's just a part of the Telegram, I guess, what do you call it? Their store or something like that. So that is, I guess, possible. So, but because I know some people can buy, you can buy your own Telegram handle, so that could be used as how do you say, your identifier or something. use
see.
Telegram.
The Telegram, okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to say is, not all Republicans are perfect. There are a couple of rhinos, which is called as Republican in name only, but one of them was Nikki Haley, and this is something which was during the election debate. Now you can say she's a hardcore Republican, but what she was advocating is that so far social media is concerned, the social media issues, let's say like Telegram, Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, Elon Musk, they will have to ask for KYC, which will be a government-issued identity. Then, after it is approved, only then you can go and start using your social media platform. The politicians from both the sides, they dismiss the idea completely, and I do have this feeling that she was probably funded by George Soros or some other notorious left-wing lunatic, because of which they wanted to go and do that. But that thing was completely demolished, so it did not go through. And hopefully it doesn't happen.
Goodness.
But with US elections coming up, and we have two weird candidates representing the Democratic Party, I'm not sure that could be a possibility that in order to, let's say, use your Facebook, you will have to go and do your KYC, you'll have to go and provide valid authentication. Now, regarding US elections coming up, Marcus, I very specifically remember in 2016, one of the biggest talks about blockchain technology was supply chain management, and then there was election. There was so much of hype about, blockchain technology to be the most revolutionary thing. It could actually solve all election fraud. Unfortunately, I hate saying it, the use case is at 0.00. It has not been implemented yet, and I don't think so, to be completely honest. It will be implemented as well. We have briefly touched base about what happened in India, Marcos, regarding the election. They did the old school, but in a modernized way, and I think that turned out to be absolutely fantastic, and we can talk about it in a later session. But so far as blockchain technology is concerned, I don't see it being implemented for voting, because this year we had more than 40 countries going for election. If we talk about blockchain technology to be the next industrial or the next revolution, it should have at least had some implementation. Unfortunately, it is not happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think so it's going to happen after the next 4 years as well. What is your thoughts regarding blockchain technology for voting purpose?
I mean, I don't. I don't really see it. I'm not in a big way. I guess the only closest thing when it comes to, I guess, like voting and stuff. Well, I think it was in either Borneo or maybe Malaysia. I could be wrong, but I remember Ruben Yap. So he's the project steward of Hero Protocol, previously known as Zcoin. So I remember him. Like, I think that there was some sort of like a political stalemate or something like that. So his blockchain was used for like a voting mechanism, but yeah, it went well and it was used one time and that's it. But to answer your question in terms, do I see anything in the next 4 years? If you're talking about like, politicians and bureaucrats, look, when it comes to accountability and stuff, none of these guys are going to do. They're scared of accountability. Blockchain will keep these guys accountable. They are like vampires. They're allergic to the light. They're allergic to blockchain technologies, which will actually provide verification and accountability. Exactly. So I don't expect any of these guys, especially when it comes to the United States. To me, like 80 or 90% of Republicans are corrupt. Democrats, in my opinion, 99.9%. Are corrupt as well. So, I don't know. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
I 100% agree.
Just being clear.
I 100% agree. The only way, let's think of it, how it could work. Let's say in US, you have the social security number, and UAE, we have the Emirates ID number, isn't it? What a protocol or project can do is they can take that number, put it into SHA-256, which will give you a long cryptographic hash. That can be kind of like your private key. And using that, you can create a public address, but it's going to be an absolute nightmare, because the answer is, what happens during the election day? Someone loses their private key. There is no other alternative solution for that. You have a backup. If you have a backup, then there is a centralized entity managing it. The politicians can catch hold of the centralized entity and go and manipulate the votes. So it will only work if there is a private key and public key involved. End of story. But that has to be connected to your social security number. Then the big question is, who's eligible to vote, who's not eligible to vote. So unfortunately, I do remember in 2016, Marcus, I'd done a presentation and I was one of the advocates. I was talking about, this is going to revolutionize the whole voting industry, but it is almost a decade and I definitely don't see that thing happening as well. So, but yeah. But the only thing
I hate to say, look, sorry, I was about to say that, like, I just don't see that happen. Honestly, like anytime soon.
Yeah.
Especially, I guess, like, and I do get, look, not everything has to be on the blockchain and stuff. I mean, I get it. But then again, like, I don't know, when it comes to like the voting stuff, I'm not going to hold my breath. I mean, sorry, me just thinking about like, voting and stuff and all this political process. I don't know. It's just way too many, shenanigans.
And if you talk about permission blockchain, there is nothing called as permission blockchain, isn't it? Yeah, I think someone is saying
hold
that
on. Let me.
There's a decentralized
this is from our friend from Andre. Sorry, my apologies. I'm going to butcher your name, Pemilar. So apologies. I think when we meet up, you have to tell me the correct pronunciation. But okay, this is interesting. Okay, coming. Oh, they're building. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's good. That's good to hear that. So, because I know, George, you've been talking about for this for a long time. So,
I've seen a lot of projects. They talk about permission blockchain so far as voting is concerned, and we talked about permission blockchain. In permission blockchain, it is easily possible to go ahead and do a double spending. And notorious politicians, they can definitely go ahead and double spend. They can go to, other countries and go ahead and change the entire voting formulas and then go back and rechange it as well. So I'm heavily involved in US politics, the ins and outs about what is going on regarding the voting machine. So I don't think so. I would love to see it. I mean, you can't even implement something called a zero knowledge proof until and unless there is private key and public address, all these three things involved. The biggest question is, what happens to, let's say, to voters who have lost their private key? And then you're also talking about, let's say, election to be done in 24 hours. What about, Ethereum if there is any congestion? What if there is a DDoS attack on that particular day? So, it's going to be...
look, all I can say is, man, like, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies they're going to raise from the grave and start voting, so...
Regarding this news, Marcos, regarding Pavel, I do think that, it would be great if somehow, some way, he can, let's say, go ahead and, have a so-called Web 3.0 form of logging in. So using, let's say, Ethereum address, you can log into your Telegram. I think that is one possibility. So that way, the access, or the backdoor access is pretty much next to zero, and you can create multiple, Ethereum addresses. One would be only for Telegram. You can connect it, let's say, to your Ethereum wallet, so on and so forth. Now, one thing which I absolutely did not like, Marcus, that is the tweet by the Ton Foundation. I thought that was the dumbest move. At a philosophical level, it's
What is it? Hold on.
They actually tweeted that, we are in full support of Pavel, which is great. Everyone should support 100%. But a Ton Foundation, which is connected to Telegram, the SEC will definitely not be liking this. The SEC will directly ask them this question: why did you go ahead and tweet it? What is the financial motive behind it? And that just raises quite a lot of unnecessary questions. The best thing what Ton Foundation could have done, they could have just remained silent. The best thing whenever such things happen is just remain silent. There is another account called as Ton Rewards, which I believe is associated with Ton Foundation. So if you actually check Ton Rewards on Twitter, they're actually issuing free tokens to people who actually go ahead and vote to free Pavel. Again, another dumb move. I absolutely love that, people are supporting him. You could do it, but what the Ton Foundation members could have done is the foundation members, they could have posted it from their own individual personal ID.
I see. Okay. I get where you're coming from. Because initially I was like, I don't see a problem with the Ton Foundation showing support to Pavel. Hey, free Pavel or whatever. I get it. But I can see from the optics, because again, you're dealing with Western governments, Western powers. So if you, no, okay, I can see that. Okay.
And that is exactly what happened, when Unisop, they were given the subpoena. It was the CEO who actually tweeted from his personal account, which is fine. So I'm not sure if there is a CEO for Town Foundation. If he tweets from his personal account, then it is fine. Then the SEC won't say anything. But then the SEC will say, hey, you know what, you're the CEO, you're getting paid from the Town Foundation, which is perfectly legal and fine. There are absolutely no issues for that. Or I've seen Vitalik Buterin. He often tweets from his personal account, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But when you're associated with a foundation, that creates an unnecessary red flag. That is what my honest opinion is.
Okay. Yeah. I know it means well, but it just attracts. Yeah. Okay. I get it. It just attracts wrong attention. So
in a cryptocurrency and blockchain world,
and yeah. So
let's say the foundation.
I can see why like Vitalik does it. I forgot the guy, the CEO of Uniswap. Many others too. They all, even CZ too, right? He tweets from his personal account, not from the Binance account.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. I guess I don't. Well, I have my certain words for the Town Foundation, but that's a whole other thing. But
I mean, so the intentions are great. So it would have been, let's say, I'm not sure if there's a CEO of the Town Foundation. If he would have tweeted from his personal account, that would have been fine. Because now what the SEC will state is, were you trying to pump up the price because the prices have actually gone down because of the torn rewards? That becomes a massive, massive red flag. And these are things, that SEC tends to look at.
Yeah.
They tend to look
at. Actually, this guy, the CEO of Open Platform and also Town Foundation, I think it's Andrew Roganozol. I guess that's, apologize if I screw up his last name, but he should have tweeted it from his personal account. Then I know like the other investors in Dawn Foundation, or I guess the Dawn blockchain, like Bill Kwan and stuff, and he put from his tweet or from his LinkedIn profile, so which is fine legally. So it's his personal right, his personal like expression. So that should have been fine. But coming from a foundation directly, it kind of like
it creates unnecessary legal problems in the future. And I'm pretty much sure, not now, maybe 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year down the line, it's definitely going to raise a lot of questions, even if they have deleted the tweet. Now, Marcus, we are missing the most important project, which was actually supposed to take care of this. That is Voice.com by EOS, because they wanted to build something which would have avoided any of the thing that Powell, or the CEO of Telegram, is actually facing, isn't it? So for our listeners should know that, EOS, they raised $4 billion. The project now looks like a scam, but nonetheless, they had actually bought a domain name called Voice.com. I'm sure some of the listeners would know that the only reason why Michael Saylor is famous is because he actually sold the domain name Voice.com for $30 million to EOS. And the whole idea of Voice.com, Marcus, was to go ahead and build a platform where people could go ahead and speak without any censorship, without absolutely anything. But they did have a lot of KIC, and I even forgot the guy's name who was supposed to be much smarter than Satoshi Nakamoto, Dan Larimer.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I haven't heard that name for the longest time. I think the last interview I saw of him was maybe like 5 years ago, man.
So the whole idea about Voice.com was so that, projects like Telegram exist and there should be no legal repercussion. But I think Voice.com now is focusing on NFTs, if I'm not mistaken, which is an NFT marketplace. But so Voice.com, they started to do KYC. I did actually submit my passport details as well. And they were
I think so too, I remember signing up for it or something, but did I provide KYC stuff? I don't know, maybe I did, but I don't know. But again, those are old documents, so it's outdated, so.
And initially, Marcus, you touched based upon Rumble as well, because the Rumble CEO has left Europe, and he's put some really funny and scary tweets as well. But Rumble, you have to send your KYC documents in Rumble as well. I'm not sure if that is the same in US, because I've tried it in Dubai. I tried to download Rumble, and it does ask you for your KYC. I'm not sure if it works now over here. I don't think so it works. But the key difference from a business point of view is, Rumble has 158 employees, But Telegram has 0 employees. It is just a one-man show, isn't it? So there are no employees. The amount of money he actually spends on advertisement in 0 is completely organic, and I do think it is a brilliant project.
Yeah. I actually, I'm actually quite curious about. Look, I'm familiar with Telegram. I'm definitely familiar with Rumble.com. But do you remember Gab? Now, Gab was Gab.com. So it's been a while, but that one also is actually pretty good too. So, but they also grew organic as well. Now, they haven't gained much prominence, but they got attacked the most.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still standing strong. They have their own servers. They have, it's all independent. They're not depending on AWS or any other, cloud providers and stuff. So it's been a while, but I do remember, I don't remember the CEO's name, but he's definitely an outspoken free speech guy. But I know, but again, they did initially work with the Trump's team and stuff, but it didn't work out. I don't know. It has to do with Trump. I know sometimes Trump also, he fucks things up. But I think the worst part is his son-in-law, who was super shady in my point of view. I haven't heard much news from that, but that has been quite a place for political conversations. I mean, it can be. You can also go extreme, but it is interesting to see there are some options out there, but obviously it's not that popular because it does require huge budgets to market yourself and stuff. So
I just know of one project that is called Murmur, which tried to replicate Twitter on Ethereum, but I'm not sure because if it is still existing
on Ethereum.
Yeah, so what it is
I don't think so, man.
Every time you tweet, or rather more, it gets recorded on the blockchain, and it used to take a lot of time to go and get uploaded on. So imagine if you're liking something, it takes it needs to go and the block needs to be produced on and so forth. But the project was more. I'm not sure if it still exists or not. I did actually log into that, and there was pretty much no activity. I'm not sure.
No, because it just cannot. I mean, even now too. Look, it would make sense to have maybe like a social platform, say like Solana, maybe on BSV, maybe Bitcoin Cash, or maybe even also Avalanche is also great too. Ton would be interesting, so I guess.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a whole other.
Yeah, and if any of the listeners have any feedback or any points you'd like to mention, drop it in the comments. And Andrew, he's said that he's trying to build a decentralized solution. So please let us know what it is, and we'd love to talk about that in probably one of the
Absolutely,
sessions.
yeah.
Now let's talk about the second news, and now this we'll try to talk it in terms of how it is connected to cryptocurrency and blockchain. Because Robert F. Kennedy Jr., this, to be honest, Marcus, from a political point of view, was a surprising move. Tulsi Gabbard, not so much, because she has left Democratic Party for almost a year, and she is very much attached to the Republican side. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he did actually leave, or he's technically not dropped out from the race. He's done a really smart move. We won't talk about that, but he's actually gone ahead and endorsed Trump. Now, why that is great for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world is no matter what happens in the upcoming election, because these two really strong people are, together, it would definitely mean it's looking great so far as the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned. And we talked about, the event that happened at Bitcoin Nashville. A lot of the people in fact, I could say 100% of the people, they haven't heard the entire speech. They have just read articles, they have read clips. What I'd really recommend listeners to do is listen to both the speech by President Trump and also by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I hate saying this, but some of the things that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said I did not like. One is regarding having Bitcoin as a result because you're making a centralized decision. It would never happen. The great thing that he actually talked about is regarding the ETF. He absolutely did not like the spot Bitcoin ETF approved. And I also sent you my document about why a spot Bitcoin ETF approval is not great, isn't it? I'm a huge Trump fan, Marcus, and if you actually listen to Trump's speech, everything that he said was absolutely spot on. And I was like, okay, Trump is not a Bitcoin guy, let me go ahead and find out some of the negatives of the speech, what he said. I could not find absolutely anything. And I tried to be as serious as much as possible because the things that he said is something that can be implemented. And from a politician's or from a country's point of view and political point of view, it makes perfect sense. Jimmy Song, one of the OGs of Bitcoin, he started bashing that, I did not like what Trump said. Someone did actually ask him, did you listen to the entire speech? And he said, no, but I know what he's talking about. That I think is stupid. If you watch the entire speech, then if you see it, but makes sense.
Okay, if it's like, Jimmy Song, look, I wouldn't bother because honestly, I just see him as an angry B2C maximalist. Like, it's, I just cannot, take that guy seriously. I just find him sort of a waste of time. Like, I don't see there's no point for like all these other Bitcoiners, whether they're coming from BTC, BCH, eCash, or BSV, have conversation with guys like him. It's a waste of time, and his approach to things is toxic. I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't care. I could respect him when he said, look, I haven't listened to Trump's speech, but personally, I do not care.
I think you should care
that'd be fine.
because
do your own thing.
Some of the things I think you should care because some of the things that he said is spot on. I was under the impression that he won't get it right. To be completely honest, I was like, okay, Bitcoin, he won't get it right.
I
wouldn't be surprised
from
if David Bailey, the Bitcoin magazine guy, could have told him, because it has to be some of the Bitcoin OG and maximalists to say what is possible, or someone like Andreas Antonopoulos, because the thing that he said was on the level of Andreas Antonopoulos. I was like, man, let's see what he could get it wrong. Can he go ahead and appoint a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency strategic advisor at the presidential role? Yes. Can he go ahead and fire Gary Gensler on day one? Yes, he can do that because it is under his authority to go ahead and do that. Can he go ahead and instruct to go ahead and hodl Bitcoin, not sell it? The answer to that is yes. But what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to do is he wants to go ahead and buy Bitcoin and put it as a reserve. That will not be possible because that has to be approved by, because you're actually spending money, so it has to be approved by the Senate. It has to be approved by the Congress. Yeah, that would. The chances of that, to be honest, is less than 50%. It sounds like a great idea, but when you put it across in a political speech, it sounds absolutely like a great idea. But
I get it. Look, I know like a lot of the politicians, they because my experience with like some of the politicians, like they all make speeches and stuff, but it's all about action. So I heard that many times. So I guess from aside, just to give some grace or some points where Jimmy's concerned is like, he didn't hear transcript, but if he doesn't care, I get it.
Because he did not say he doesn't care.
A lot of politicians make speeches. If he said that, but I know it's a kind of.
There was one Democratic congressman, Collis Rokana. He also surprised me, to be completely honest, Marcus. I was actually...
Rokana, okay. He's a Democrat, right?
In the YouTube, I'll be completely honest, and I'm ashamed to do that, I actually did click on decline. And I actually, without even actually watching it, but after watching it, I had to go ahead and change it, and I click like. Because what he said is absolutely spot on. He actually talks some of the really good benefits about Bitcoin and what they want to do, which I absolutely like, and I was not actually anticipating him to say that. He also said that the Democrats need to go ahead and take a step on board in order to go ahead and implement what cryptocurrency is. Now there is another bit of fake news going on in LinkedIn that the Democratic National Convention Center, they did not talk anything about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, which is 100% right. But the Republican National Committee, they did not talk about it either, because that's not what the convention center is. They are not supposed to be talking about, let's say policy-specific things as such. They are just going to be showing support. So there was quite a lot of back and forth arguments.
Okay, just repeat again. What was the fake news about the DNC?
So there was fake news stating that the DNC did not mention a single thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency during the 4 or 5 day event. In that event, you're not supposed to be mentioning anything about what you're going to be doing. It is more about, your endorsements that you're receiving.
Okay.
So you're not supposed to be talking about policy-specific things. It is more about, let's say this governor is endorsing him. It could be any reason. It could be, let's say, a rap musician endorsing him, not to do with politics as such. It is an official, let's say, an agreement stating that, now you're the nominee.
Okay.
So that was kind of a lot of LinkedIn articles that were circulating. The same thing, even the Republican National Committee, they did not talk anything about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency either. And rightly so, you wouldn't be talking about it because it is a completely different event altogether.
Okay. But the fake news on LinkedIn is that the DNC didn't talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is kind of misleading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But apart from that, I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I do feel that, RFK Jr. and Trump will definitely, at least. And, this is an interview I had with the CEO of Triton Liquid Fund. And this goes back to your point, Marcus, what he said. What if the politicians don't do anything about what they promised? He actually said it doesn't matter, even if Trump becomes the president, it doesn't matter if he follows through his word or not. It will be great for the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And that is the kind of perception that, at least people have.
No, sure. Yeah, in that regard, yeah, of course, perception is a new reality, right? So, in a sense, so I get it, yeah. I guess in the short-term game, but in the long-term, again, like, I guess mostly for me, I just do not put my trust or faith in many of these policies because
I think we shouldn't be as well, isn't it? We shouldn't be trusting any politicians. We should be trusting on what we have in front of us. The less politics involved, the better. I think the less politicians and reservations are involved, I think it is better. But it's going to be really interesting to see because I've already said this, Marcus, in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast that there are 3 events that are going to shape at least the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The first one was, the spot Bitcoin ETF, which again we discussed, it is more of a political move. The second was the Bitcoin halving. That also did actually happen. And the third one is the US election. So these 3 news are definitely going to have a very strong impact on, the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And other than that, on the session that we are going to have on Thursday, we'll go and discuss why the prices have been pumping up since the 22nd of this month, because Jerome Powell, he did actually kind of make not an official announcement, but he did actually state that in the FOMC meeting that is scheduled to take place on the 18th of September, he will be reducing the interest rate. And Marcus, we talked about it in our Kamala crash episode, isn't it? Was it really a recession or was it media driven? So it's going to be really interesting to see how this narrative plays out. But I think we have covered pretty much everything, Marcus, isn't it?
Yeah. No, sure. I think we did. Yeah, we covered everything from what's happening, with Paul Durov, all aspects of you covered like the interviews and stuff. So really interesting talking points. Also, and also like some keywords from Edward Snowden. Durov's arrest was an assault on basic human rights of speech and association. So it is how do you say a snapshot of the future of some of the Western countries. They talk about democracy, liberty, freedom, all that jazz. But honestly, it is sort of a facade. And but I would want to say about France, just to be real, France of all countries shouldn't be talking about liberty and freedom. They're still the de facto imperial nation in the African nations in terms of uranium and stuff, and using their military power in those countries. And we're also seeing also in those African countries too are actually fighting back against France, kicking them out and stuff. So, which does showcase how France has been falling, and also with the Olympics too. It was a shitty experience, and why people want to travel to France and stuff is beyond my understanding. But even some of the Bitcoiners too, they all want to go to Paris Blockchain Summit and all that bullshit. I'm like, really, and you're getting mugged and all that stuff, and you want to post on Twitter and LinkedIn especially, like, you know what, like, way I see it, you all deserve it. But there are better places like the Gulf countries, even India, Southeast Asia, where you're going to be like, there's a lot of incredible development, a lot of talent you get access to. And also Africa's also rising up too.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to learn more about it, go on Twitter, check out this guy, the ex-CEO of Paxful, Ray Youssef. He has this P2P service called No Ones. Definitely an interesting guy. He's definitely pan-Africanist, African and not Conist, but not as like Dutch Afrikaan, but African, Pan-African advocate. But nonetheless, a lot of incredible developments are taking place. So, like with all the negative and bullshit that we see, like what's happening in America and Europe, I want to show the positivity of what's happening in our side of the world. And, I think, I would definitely want to highlight that because we are benefiting from it. And I hope that when you look at countries like Singapore, we're looking at countries like, cities like Dubai, Abu Dhabi and stuff. The ideals they have in mind showcases long-term growth. So definitely I'm grateful for that. And there's also a reason why Paul Durrell resided in Dubai. And hope that people do recognize that there are some great things taking place. And also it's an opportunity for people like us. We don't have to be Paul Durrell. We ourselves can use our human capital, our creativity to add value and create great solutions. And not only it'll create more economic and financial freedom, but it will also bring economic prosperity to the region as well, which is kind of like a flywheels of flywheels, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. So I just want to share that. I think that's something I want to recognize. I'm like, man, because I know, you and me, when we are researching all this stuff, I mean, the amount of negativity we see, like on Twitter and, all that research, you're like, what the heck, So, just want to share some moment of Zen and for you guys to think about, hey, you know what, there are some good stuff coming in, and I can assure you that in September and October especially, I think you will see some good stuff over here in Sunnyside Dubai. So anyway, that's my speech.
Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything that we had to cover, isn't it, Marcus, in today's episode. The only thing I can tell is, and this is slightly to do with, how the bills are approved in US. Definitely check out an episode by Senator Mike Lee with Tucker Carlson, and he's actually talking about how a couple of these bills are passed in just a matter of 10 minutes. So there are 5,000 pages worth of documents, and it is designed in such a way that, the members of Congress or Senate members, they don't even get the time to read it, and they have to go ahead and approve it. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he was actually talking about this from a healthcare point of view. So he wants to go ahead and make healthcare great again. So hopefully, we might see people who are much fitter physically and mentally as well. So interesting times. Yeah, other than that, if anyone has any feedback or comments regarding, let's say, privacy, freedom of speech, and the impact politics can have so far as cryptocurrency and blockchain is concerned, we'll try not to be political because then it creates a lot of drama and it opens up a can of worms, isn't it? And if anything that is connected to crypto, blockchain, or even artificial intelligence, I personally am liking what I'm seeing so far as AI is concerned. It is definitely saving a lot of time. It's providing ace quality. I'm hoping, the cryptocurrency and blockchain world does have a ChatGPT moment, which we haven't had yet. And, some breakthrough application which becomes, look at Threads, Marcus. I think in just a matter of 24 hours, I think 100,000 people got signed up for it, isn't it? Or was it 1 million? I forgot. 100 million. I forgot the number. Something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty fast, yeah. But, I mean, in terms of, I think in terms of adoption, it was great. I mean, but, I haven't been on Threads for, a year or two or something, I don't know. And so, I'm curious about the engagement. I mean, I know some people do, and I know it's more American focus, I guess.
Yeah.
But
See,
but
this
yeah,
is
but I know.
this is the thing I think, Marcus, whenever there is, let's say, a new application, a new development, and keeping in mind the whole metaverse hype, I often tell, some of my clients that the new experience has to be 10 times better than what you're currently experiencing, or people will not switch it. Before WhatsApp, we used to use our regular mobile phones, isn't it? Where we used to send SMS. If you were to ask me, does WhatsApp offer a 10x better experience than a regular mobile phone? I definitely do think so, yes, because you can do voice calling, we can do video calling, we can send attachments.
Yeah.
Does it offer a 10x better user experience? Yes. One of the reasons why I do feel, Metaverse project has kind of failed. What a lot of the companies are doing is they are just trying to replicate what is being in the virtual space into Metaverse. That will not cut it. The new user experience has to be 10 times better. We should be able to touch the 5 senses, which might happen maybe less than a decade's time or so, maybe in 5 years or 8 years' time. The same thing, with Marcus, and I hate saying this when we talk about cryptocurrency payments. The user experience is not 10 times better than the fiat world. I think, right now, if I were to send funds from Metric Bank, we can do it in just a matter of scanning the code, and it does happen real time. If you compare it, let's say, cryptocurrency, some of the user experience is going 10 years back or 10x back because you still have to go and use the desktop version. One of my friends is in Manchester. He often asks, what app should I use for a decentralized exchange? I was like, no, just do it on a desktop version. He's like, there is no app. So I'll have to go and explain. It becomes a bit difficult, isn't it? So is the user experience 10 times better? There are quite a lot of apps. But to explain it to someone completely newbie, it becomes extremely difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. I have to agree to that. I mean, I guess for guys like us, right? Like, for example, because before starting my podcast journey and stuff, like, I used to teach people how to buy their first Bitcoin, buy their first crypto and stuff. So, I would recommend people to, get the Bitcoin.com wallet or Exodus or even also Edge app or Edge wallet by Paul Pui. Really great guy. Really respect his technical knowledge in the space. It takes some time because it is something I get used to. But I think I guess a lot of people had a fun experience with Exodus and also Bitcoin.com wallet too.
Yeah.
But especially with Exodus, the user interface was actually kind of cool, to be honest. So, it was fun actually. So, and it still is, so I know I get lost with so many apps I'm using
and talking about privacy,
and also these hardware wallets.
I used to use Wasabi Wallet, but it's not loading in Dubai for some odd reason. The blockchain explorer doesn't load the block, so Wasabi Wallet looks like it's kicked off from Dubai as well. The one question what I wanted to ask is, Marcus, when you talk about Bitcoin, keeping in mind, Dr. Saif the enormous book, The Bitcoin Standard, does it offer 10x better user experience than fiat currency? I would say yes. I would say yes, Marcus. It offers a 25x better user experience. If you look at it in terms of final instant settlement, a Bitcoin transaction can get in terms of, if you're talking about, the whole open blockchain, the pillars of open blockchain. I do think when you talk about Bitcoin, only Bitcoin, not necessarily, let's say, Ethereum. And if you were to compare it, let's say, with doing transfers, let's say if I want to send $10,000 from here to US.
Yeah.
What is the procedure I need to follow? Let's increase the amount, let's say $200,000. What are the documentation required? What is the attestation required? If you were to compare that, let's say with Bitcoin, you just take your mobile phone, scan it, you can be wherever you want, upload it, no KYC, no absolutely anything, and the transaction gets done. That's what it is, I think.
Yeah. Okay, if you put that, but yeah, because I'll tell you what, I used to work with American.
Also, I would.
Yeah, but just for audience, like, I used to work with American Express, so like, if you want to get an American Express, and like, you have to fill out all the documentation, KYC stuff to the wazoo. Kind of ridiculous, actually. I remember it was just, but if it's like, Bitcoin, and I get it, like, but even now, I guess I would agree with you, like, hey, if talking about, finality, in finance, yeah, you're not answering to anybody as long as, I guess if you're not using what do you say, if you're not using liking network and all that stuff, because I remember in the early days, man, just sending Bitcoin to somebody, I'll never forget that surreal experience of this, the show on Dollar Vigilante when Jeff Berwick, man, he sent to this guy in Hong Kong while on the show or something. It was his aha moment, and it was that time it was what, less than $3 or something. I'm like, fucking wow, that's amazing, wow, I don't know, it was kind of such a cool experience, so I guess I remember that, so that's why, I mean, I know, George, that's why I always stress on, I'm not a big fan of L2s and stuff because of the security reason and all that stuff, and not to have dependency, but, I guess that's why I like Monero. Yeah. But of course, if you're comparing to, the current, the TradFi, the broken system, yeah, sure, Bitcoin is better. And
even Monero, I would say, even or Litecoin for that matter, quite a lot of some cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, Litecoin is good too. Yeah.
Even Dogecoin for that matter, I think,
Yeah, so Doge is also pretty good because normally people know this company BitPay.
Yeah.
When it comes to large purchases, say you want to buy a Lamborghini, the BitPay customers use Bitcoin. But if it's for coffee or snacks or something, people use Doge. So I mean, if you don't believe me, talk to the people at BitPay.
Yep.
They'll tell you.
So that's the reason I think, and this is the advice I usually try to give to some of them when I do consultation. Is it offering a 10x better user experience? And I just look at the face and they say no. Because, blockchain technology, I'm not sure what the use case is beyond making payments. NFT is one brilliant use case, but a lot of them have actually lost money in NFTs as well, except for few people. The issuers of NFTs like Gary Vee, they have made quite a lot of money. Even the DJ, I don't know the very famous DJ guy.
I guess, yeah.
He has made more money in NFTs in just a matter of 1 year than his entire... He's a very famous DJ. I'm just into extreme death metal.
Damn.
But yeah, other than that, I think we have covered pretty much everything, isn't it? For our listeners, please join us on Thursday. We're going to talk about a weekly recap, why the prices have increased, and India has some really interesting news in the world of central bank digital currency. They have 5 million active users. And we'll go ahead and talk about the digital public infrastructure in India, which I do not like because they're focusing on CBDCs. And we'll talk quite a lot regarding what is going on this week in the world of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and even artificial intelligence. I think that's about all, isn't it, Marcus? Do we have anything else?
No, I think that's about it. So just please join us for Thursday. And of course, George, thank you so much, man. Covering some interesting highlights for this week, and I'm glad we had this emergency live stream, to cover, especially with the Tron blockchain, and also some criticisms too, which is needed because especially them, the foundation posting it. I know I get that they mean well. We definitely respect that, but we know the guys from the SEC. We know some of the government agencies too. They will try to use that as ammunition, right? So
they'll just ask a simple question: why did you tweet it? Because I watch a lot of the Senate hearing. I actually listen to it, and most of the time it is 8 hours long, and it lasted a couple of days. They would ask a simple question: why did you tweet it? If the CEO tweets it, hey, you're getting paid by Ton Foundation, fair enough, no questions asked. Who manages the Ton Foundation? Why did that person tweet it? And what is to do with Ton? Because it raises a massive red flag. At least that is what I think. But if listeners have or want to correct me, more than happy to learn more about what that tweet is.
I guess so, yeah. But we'll see. Anyways, only time will tell, so we'll see though. Unless in the United States extradite Powell to the United States and him standing in front of Congress. Well, I don't know if that happens or whatever. But
I don't think so.
That's all.
I think he should be, hopefully. I mean, he's a fantastic guy. He's doing great thing, so far as freedom is concerned. Hopefully he gets to come back to Dubai and does what he's doing best. It's going to be really interesting because I'm pretty much sure a lot of them will want to do an interview with him, isn't it?
I know. Look, Pavel, if you're watching this, man, we are a simple live stream. But hey, you know what? We keep it honest, and I'll say we are better than Tucker Carlson, just saying. So
yeah,
we're not going to give you that goofy laugh or whatever. Keep it real, keep it honest. And also at the same time, we also make you look good too, man. It's you get hard hitting questions, but hey, you also get to have the opportunity to express and and also most importantly, we want to hear about plans for the future, so that's important too, because I know as much as I know he wants to separate himself, try to be iconic and stuff, but his personal brand is powering Telegram, but especially the Tron blockchain. No doubt about it. So it's all interconnected. So, anyways, so folks, we'll see you Thursday, 10 a.m. GST, Gulf Standard Time. So y'all be good, y'all be safe, and we will talk to you soon.